It's advanced requirements time, and we're doing it with the basketball one. So I'm going to cheat by copying myself by putting in the one from that I did from the football game. Now, I obviously look import CSV should go at the top. This is a lesson. Right? I'm just kind of showing you, trying to keep it all together so you can see your essential code. So just don't forget that normally goes to the top of your program. Right, I'm gonna call it big stats. To call what your file whatever you want. I'll call it basket stats, and it's made in there's a write mode W, there's an OR mode read, and there's an A, which is just add on lines rather than completely overwrite it. So that's what we'll do here. W might be for more like your cookie account balance where you want to update it every time, but not keep a record of your past ones. It's better. Okay, this line here does nothing other than take this, and I don't have to write this down. I write this out every time, so I just call it CSV or whatever. You can call it like T or X or if you want S, but it's fun. So then I go CSV.write row, and here are my rows. So this is from the last one, and it's just a load of things in a list, just a normal Python list here. I had this from the other game. So do I have a player name yet? I don't. Do I want a player name? Yeah, I kind of suppose you should though, right? If you want to do the basketball game, player name equals input. What's your name, dude? It's not from Back to the Future. So, did they say dude in... I think in Back to the Future 3, in the cowboy one, where they say dude, everyone lost their minds that no one would say that. But then someone pointed out that was a word that they used. An insult back then. In the 1890s or something. I'm going to put in some of the stats that I have above. I suppose shot result, or I guess the concern here, right, is that what if I put in shot result when there is no shot result because I didn't play that game? I'm gonna be, that sort of way. One way you could do that is just at the top, just initialize all these to be 0, so that it doesn't try and refer to something that does not exist because it never got played. There never was a player or a computer 2 because you never selected to play them. So, let's just put in, there's probably going to be a player 1, imagine. So, we could do an if given type and do different CS, but you know what, I think just initializing them all to 0 will be the simplest thing. So I'm going to take the first thing is I'm going to put in the player name. Because I just made that. I should say player 1 name. Player 1, what's your name? Right. Then that goes into the CSV, comma, and then I suppose their score, right? But I let's put in their shot distance and then their score, I think. Look, it doesn't really matter. You just chuck a bunch of variables in here. If I was doing this seriously for myself, I could put in all, but actually I think of too much. I think I'd have 12 different variables or something like that. The game type is a good idea to put in here so you know what your players are playing. Are they playing 1 player? Are they playing 2 player? And then let's go for, what was his result? Shot distance? Yeah, we can put that in there. So look, that's fine. And then you could go player 2 and keep going like that. You'll just see, for example, if I press go, this should all kind of work. And I'm going to go 1 versus the computer. I shoot from 2 meters, blah, blah, blah. What's your name? Marty. Fly. Great. If you go open here, basket.py. So you'll have to go all files and you'll see a CSV file here. It is best just to open this up honestly, and if you open it with an Excel it'll be proper cells or whatever, but Donnie's so fast at opening it up. Excel takes ages. There you go. So now I don't have a heading in there, so I could put in a heading and then kind of skip over it, but we'll see about that. I might do that later. Right. So that's fine. It wrote the thing, but it is worth like shot result 1 and shot distance. I think they only appear if I choose, game type 1. So they won't exist if I just do a simulation. So I predict that it'll probably conk out in an error if I do a simulation. No, it shouldn't ask for a top score if there's a simulation going on, if there's 3. Okay. So really what I should do here is, if the game type is not 3, do this. Because if it is 3, if it's simulation time, you don't need to save the simulations to a CSV file, because they don't, doesn't make any sense. Maybe you might want to do that for yourself, but I'm not going to. Okay, so I'll just put in only save stats if not a sim. Okay. Deadly. There we go. So actually that will get around shot results. Yeah, actually that means I don't now have to initialize these, because there will always be a player 1 in a 1 versus computer or 1 versus 2. So this is fine. But if I did have to add in a player 2 here, I think the thing to do, let's say if I wanted to put in, where's game type 2? So let's say I want to put shot result 2. If I put that in there after player 2 and run 1 versus computer, I'm going to run into a problem. Blah, 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 blah. You see, shot result 2 was never defined because player 2 never existed, because I have no friends. So here we go. So I'm going to need to initialize my variables up here until player 2 finally shows up. So I'll just go anyway. Actually, I suppose it's good to have just a section at the top of your program where you initialize all your variables. So the safest thing, to be honest, is just to get all your variables at the start and just initialize them as 0. And now it'll know that, look, if there's no player 2 to play, it'll just there you go. It'll just save 0 to the CSV now, because that's fine. Cool. Or you could have 3 different CSVs for your 3 different game modes. That's probably not a bad idea as well. You could do it that way. But whatever you like yourself, whatever's easiest. Okay. So that's that. I just want to check that all worked fine. I'm gonna go open up all files, and there you go. It's put in my game mode. You see, like, it put in it put in like 0 there. That's fine. Grand. So CSV is now kind of ticked off. Now I want to be able to read from that CSV, and the reason I kept it just to a few columns, because there's this lovely module called pandas, and pandas is amazing for reading CSVs and kind of putting them into a nice table in text. It does all the hard work for you. So down here, this is more AOR2, Advanced Requirement 2 stats. So I'm going to grab this little chunk of text, AOR2 stats, print a lovely panda table. And now I've got, like, the stuff from the football game, but some of it's going to be the same, right? These are the titles. So game type, shot distance. Okay. You could just call it player 1 score. And shot distance 2. Well, to be honest, I'm probably now just going to get rid of I don't need every single thing in my CSV. I'm not gonna, also, like, if you're project wise, you're not really getting marks by having 95 different things in your CSV. So there we go. So I'm just gonna have 4 columns here, which is totally fine starting off. And then I read the name of the CSV. I call it basketstats.csv. Skip rows equals 0. This basically is a little thing that says, do you want to, like, skip over the column when you're doing stuff like the headings? Okay. All right, so print data. Let's have a go. I like this because names of columns. Because this pandas module is amazing at reading columns of data and pulling into a list. So look, you can just use the CSV module again, and down here, I'm going to do this the wrong way. All these imports should go at the top of your program, but I'm just trying to keep them together so you know, like I try to say how this goes with this. This is why this is here because of this, and CSV is connected to this. But like really, these imports should go at the top. Okay, so yeah, let's have a go at this, and you can see. There you go. What's your name? Fa. And give it a go there. Oh, it's there. It took a while, but you can see. Maybe this this blanky thing didn't work very well. But look at that beautiful table that I made. Player name, game type, shoot distance, place, score, and all the players so far. Isn't that so nice? Like, okay, I see what happened there. I think it was that because I run this before I deleted that one of my columns. It's now stuck. It's been pulled across, stretched like. There we go. Maybe now. It'll behave. So if I press, sometimes, by the way, you have to close this because it can't be open in two different things. So blah blah blah. I can't put in scores. Well, I like to throw from 2 to. There we go. Much better. That's all it was. It was just because it accidentally had 5 entries because I ran it before and then deleted it. But yeah, I had to actually clear it to fix that problem. Cool. All right. Look at that beautiful table though. It's looking lovely, and that is reading from a CSV. And now I can do some stats. So the brief says that you have to save stuff to a CSV, which we've done here, and then import it back and graph it. Graph stuff from the CSV file. So this is what we're going to graph, stuff from here. Now, like it also says to do some stats like mean, mode, blah, 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 blah. There is no need. If you want to, we're going to do stats for sure, get the average of this and that and the other. But there's no need necessarily to have to get that from the CSV. You can just keep it as lists in your program. But what I love about this pandas thing is it's got this cool ability to just see the way shoot distance and shot results. It can group columns together into a Python list in like one line. Watch this magic, right? Pop in a line here that says list of shots. Now this is from the last one, right? But I can list of I guess shoot distances. And I'm making up a variable name here. List of shoot distances from the CSV is just data dot the name of the column, which is shoot distance, to list. There you go. So what it's gonna do there is it's gonna scoop up this entire column here into one big list. And that's awesome because then I can just at the end just get the average or the most common one. I can get whatever I want, So statistics.mean, this sort of thing, or statistics.mode. We can do whatever you want. We can get the highest value by getting the last element of the list. So I think that's what I'm going to sort. I'm going to do first, right? So I'm going to say, I'm going to again just copy this from my other example because I'm kind of accidentally explaining that one as well. So get the highest value from the list. So this is my big list. Firstly, I'm going to sort it. .sort puts it in order. All right. It puts it in order of smallest to the biggest. So the highest number of, the highest shoot distance so far is, and then it's that list. That list name is too long, by the way. That's too many. I'm fine for copy pasting, but that's just silly. And then -1 means one, it's right at the end, the very last term on the list. Okay, let's just test this works. Okay, 1 versus 1. I have to kind of keep adding people to the score every time. The highest shoot distance so far is 10. That is true. Yeah, exactly. And can I say, and the person who did it is this? Yeah, I can. I'm sure if I thought about it. But stop getting distracted. Just get the mean, the mode, the average, and do a bunch of stats. As many as you can quickly get out, right? So let's get the average. The average shoot distance, or I suppose could I go the average shot result? Yeah. Okay, and then I need to get shot result 1. How do I get that? Okay, this is the wrong word. I don't know what I'm saying. Scoop up all values in the column and append them to a nice big list. Okay, that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to just copy the same thing again, because I'm going to do the same one for that was shoot distance. I'm going to do the one for shot result. See what they got. So I just changed a few of the names. You can see this was shoot distance, so that was shoot distance. So I just changed this to shot result. And let's change the name to list of shot result 1. Nice. Okay. Now that has been put into a list for me, I can use it, and that's what I'm going to do. So down here, the average result is statistics.mean of that list that it's made. Right, let's go. Oh no, statistics is not defined because I forgot to import statistics. Yeah, okay, look, I'm going to be good and start doing it up here. Import statistics. There you go. And now everything will work just fine. What's my name? 1. There you go. The average is 0.5. Great. So I'm not going to continue on, but guess what? If you go mode instead of mean, the statistics module, look it up. There's a lot of things you can do. The standard deviation, play around with it. There's a gazillion things you can do. Okay. Oh, I totally forgot. I have to graph stuff for a or 2. I suppose I could put it into predictions, but so I just copy pasted this in from the other one I did earlier. It's going to change a few of these things. Basically, what it does is it just gives a bar chart, right, of what's in the CSV right now. So list of players CSV, sure, that's what I'm going to call a variable name. You can make that up, and it's data dot player name. So player name is, I think, the same, even it's a different game, yeah, but it's the same column. It's a player name. That's grand. To list. Okay. So what I've done there is I've just taken all the player names and I've put them in the list. It's actually the exact same thing that's going kind of like up here. So then I have a horizontal bar chart using Pygal. I will have to import Pygal. Again, I should put that at the top, but look, I'm just going to keep it here so it's easy to read. Bar chart title, self-explanatory. Put in a title. Scores from basket, CSV. Now, this is kind of like for X in range, right? So the problem is, if I do this for X in range 3, it'll just give me, to be honest, probably the best thing for you to do is, if there's a gazillion players, just do your bar chart to say top 5 players. Okay, I don't know why I insisted on trying to do it for everything in the table, because the problem is the more people play your game, the more the table changes. So it's a constantly moving target. Hence, look, this mess, right? So if you just go for X in range 5 and just say top 5 players is probably the nicest way to do it. But if you want to do something that adjusts to it, yeah, basically what I said for X, which is each name, right? Each name in the thing, CV is a list of players, and then go through it, and this for loop basically adjusts it, so it repeats it, counts how many people in this, and then adds accordingly. The only thing is that it's a list of differences is from the last one. So I actually want a list of shoot lists. What will I do? List of shot results. Let's do that one for each name. There you go. And when I press go, I mean that probably will work. Let's give it a go. Awesome. You can open up the scorechart.csv to view your save chart. Now, I think you can render it in Thonny, but I don't have it because of the old score chart. So I'll just like open in. There you go. There's their bar chart. So yeah, there's not actually a lot of data there because yeah, maybe it's not the nicest looking graph. But there you go. That's how to do a graph. Now let's get on to prediction. So the sim question is the last advanced requirement because I mean it's a really good question in that it really depends on the program you're doing. You've got to ask yourself a question about what you'd like to predict for your program. Sometimes it'll be obvious. In this one, it's not really. I mean, what would you want to know about this basketball thing to predict it? Because I mean, you have kind of equal stats between you and the computer. I could change these values to X, Y, Z and let the player adjust them. You know, there's a few different things you could do, but I think what I'd like to know, I'm like, yeah, you kind of have to stop, and I just pause the video and like think, what actually do I want to predict? What would I like to know? To be curious, I want to know which 2, 10, 20 long term. Let's say if I was to try to beat another player, am I better off with these numbers being the same? Am I better off always throwing 2, always throwing 10, always throwing 20? Well, how would I find out? Very easy. I get Python to do it a gazillion times, and then I look at the results. I add up all the scores for each one. Now I know I have a sim mode. I'm probably going to do this slightly differently. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna add another game type, haven't I? Yes, I am. Sorry. Last minute game type edition. Yeah, where it says if game not, there's now also going to be a 4, which is prediction mode. Prediction. I'm going to run just player ones here. Like actually, it doesn't really matter which one, but like I might as well just copy this chunk of text here. So this is going to I don't really need it. Well, I suppose I could put in a validation check, but I'm probably going to delete it just so it's easy for you guys to understand. Less code is easier to understand. You can always add your own validation check in afterwards. Right. Actually, do you know, or I don't even need an input here because I think I'm just going to do all 3 of them 100 times. And this is going to be to predict 10. I can get rid of, there's not going to be an if because I'm going to do all 3. There's not going to be any choices here. I am 100% just going to do each one. There we go. So I am going to just simulate all of these. This is already a list. Remember I was taking the first shot results, list item 1. So why not just leave them as lists? Actually, never mind. Bye. Yeah. It's a list of prediction 2. I'm just making the list twice. That was silly. Great. Well, savage. So now, to review, I've got 3 lists. And I've got 100 items in this, 100 items in this, and 100 items in this. Okay. So I guess I could just print them side by side just to see what they are. Well, although they're just going to be very, very long lists. It's kind of satisfying, though, seeing the lists. Yeah, go on. It looks impressive. A lot of numbers. So if I did this, I probably will immediately delete this after doing it because it'll be coming off the screen. So many numbers. I mean, well, it's about 300. 1, 2, 3. And maybe I'll see an immediate pattern. So if I press go, oh, expected, yes. Oh, was the unexpected. Colon, there we go. 4. Okay. Right, so there are 3 lists there. Okay, it's actually kind of hard to see in between them, but there's a lot of zeros, actually. Interesting. Yeah. And you see, this is now a nice little clean piece of kind of code. It's very short, does a lot of stuff, and now I could potentially adjust these if I wanted to. Well, then I just go sum of this guy, right? And that's what I'm going to print next. So I can see in 4 here. Oh, wait. And the reason for that, of course, is the outcomes. The 2 and the 3 and the 0, they are currently strings. So I'm sure I can just make outcome like integer versions of those. Yeah, I'll just do like an int outcome. I'll make a new list and I'll refer to that as well instead. So there's my outcomes, and I'll just make a new one called int outcomes. I know I could convert them, but look, I got places to be. All right, down here, and now that's lovely. 86. Yeah, and that actually has added them up. So that's added one of them up. I just need to add all 3 of them up now. Brilliant. There you go. Done. Press go. So when I sim it, 66. Oh my god. No, that can't be right. Yeah, they will be equal when I'm being stupid. And I have prediction 2. So this should have been 10. And this should have been 20. There we go. Yeah, I was just doing this 3 times. Of course they were equal when I did the same thing 3 times. So now I can see. Wow. It's not even close. So this and this. Okay, this is 146 compared to 56 and 54. Let's run it again. Interesting. This is a really good way to balance your games. This game is completely unbalanced. Yeah, unbelievable. My favorite kind of predictions for games, are for doing test cases, going through the game a million times and balancing it. This is a game balancing prediction, and that's something you could kind of say in your report and talk about. Right. So the last little bit is how can I adjust the parameters in this prediction? So I mean, you could put here, this is the starting parameters of the simulation. Is that really the number of times it repeats? So look, you could go like k is equal to repeats, and then say repeats equals input. How many times you want to run this simulation? I mean, that is probably the quickest way to potentially tick this box. I'm just not 100% I think that technically ticks the box for sure. I just think it's not really in the spirit of, I mean, what you really want to do, right, is adjust these numbers here, so really what I want to do is I want to go like x equals y equals z equals, for the first 3. So that was 1, 3, and 10. And then I can now just change this to x, y, and z. This here is going to be the next one. So maybe this is going to be A, B, C. Okay, I played around with it for a while, and I came with an okay solution. Kind of works. So the problem I was having is, I mean, this is probably a design problem in that I just have, and you might run the same thing in your games. There's too much going on here. Like, it's not hard. It's just there's just too many. I have 9 different things. Each one needs an input statement. I don't want to have 9 input statements. I mean, I could. It's not hard, but it's just like 9 every time I have to. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to scratch this thing here. And I'm just going to instead say weights for the 2 meters. Okay, type in the weights, and actually I'm gonna put in without commas. I'm just trying to think of a way of doing this. E.g. 103. So like this is 103. Yeah. So something like this. 1, 2, 3. And I can put in an explanation as to where 1 is, the 3-pointer, blah blah blah. But I think you know that from watching the video. So now what I've done is, if you think about it, I've had to think of a way of how to get this 1 out of the input statement and into here. So what I've done is, because this is a string, 1, 2, 3. If you look at it here, if I just type it down here as a string, you'll see what's going on. 1, 2, 3, right? That's what's this is becoming. So let's say I was doing the second one. I want it to be the 1. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the 0th term from this string, yeah, which is unfortunately a string. So I need to then integerize it, just make an integer. So take the first letter from whatever they type in, and then make it a number, and that goes in there. And then 1 is the second letter, which will be 2. And because remember, in lists you always count 0, 1, 2. It's weird. Does that sort of make sense? So that will work. And now I just do this 3 times, and at least now it's 3 input statements instead of 9. You know, it's better. It ain't perfect, but it's certainly better. So yeah, that's what I do. I just gonna continue to do this. Okay, so I've done that now. So I've just done it 3 times, and 3 is better than 9. I don't like this. It looks a bit clunky, but you know, it's better than it was. So, and it definitely ticks the box. So if I press go on 4, let's go 201 301 111. There we go. And look, okay, that's actually pretty balanced, you know. 140 158 155. Yeah, it's not okay. The 140 probably needs to be upped a little bit, but that fulfills the criteria of like it can help you balance your game, and I could work out what values to put in there. That's kind of that's the most useful prediction. Which is the best distance to throw from? Prediction of the best distance to throw from, where you can change the starting odds, parameters, chances of a basket. And that is the end of this program. I've tidied up a few things. I just moved, the imports up here to the top. Have I just broken these? Oh, almost deleted everything there. There they are. Control Z. Yeah. So I tidied up a few things and put in just little bit fixed spacing issues. Having to put in things so it's a little bit more readable. So I'll just very quickly press go and just show that's working pretty good. What's my name? I said my name many times. Actually, the data is getting pretty big. If in pandas you have too many columns, it'll just go ... and show you kind of the first 2 columns and ... and then the last column, something like that, and then yeah, it looks pretty good. And for the advanced requirements, let's just check the simulation thing still works. So if I go prediction mode, I'm gonna just do even across the board, 1 1 1 1 1 1. And actually it's actually pretty good to do that, because you can see here, look, they're close but they're not exact. So that kind of gives you kind of the level of deviation from the certain point. So that's it. It's got predictions, it's got all the things, and that's everything, right?